Guess I should press play.
Kratom ruined my life, quite literally. Realistically, though, I ruined my life using Kratom. I take responsibility for my actions, but the reality is that I would not have these problems if not for Kratom. I have to do an enema every 1 to 3 days, depending on how bad the constipation and intestinal pain is, just to not die. I have to take lots of Miralax, etc. Laxatives do not work at all, and before anyone asks, I am not and have never been addicted to them. My motility is almost non-existent though. As we all know all too well here, Kratom is incredibly constipating. For some people, it's worse than prescription opiates, partially due to the fiber content in Kratom and all the extra alkaloids. For some people, even after quitting Kratom, it could take like 3 weeks or more just for things to start moving somewhat normally again. Anyway, I started using Kratom in November of 2016. I'm 25 years old, so doing the math, I just turned 18 then. At first, it was a literal miracle. It cured the PTSD that nearly killed me. I thought I had found the ultimate natural medicine for my brain. I used Kratom on and off and initially didn't get addicted to it. I started using it a bit more in like June of 2017.
I feel like I'm listening to a scary podcast.
Things were going relatively well, but I definitely immediately had some constipation issues on and off from Kratom. I didn't even realize it at first, oddly, until it got bad. I was just so thankful to not be wanting to die. In like July of 2016, I started using Kratom a bit more often, and even that was maybe once a week or twice a week. In August then, things got bad. I'd used Kratom like 5 times in a week, and I hadn't gone to the bathroom once. I stopped Kratom immediately, and even then had withdrawal, though it was nowhere even close to what I would later experience. I'm seriously sensitive to withdrawal due to fibromyalgia. I was on vacation with my family and had to come clean about my bathroom issues. My family helped a lot, and I eventually got significantly less stopped up. But I didn't want to lose my new miracle. Due to my mental illness and flawed thinking, I thought to myself, well, maybe this time it won't be as bad, and I could just be proactive and take Miralax if things start to get worse again. Yeah, stupid.
You gotta stay hydrated.
Things continued to kind of get worse, then better
right.
again, then worse again, then better. I justified it because Kratom worked so well for my anxiety, and even made me ignore the bathroom issues. It seemed like a worthy trade-off since I knew a lot of chronic pain patients who had constipation issues, and I do also have chronic pain. In January of 2017, I reached 30 days without using the bathroom. Granted, I was not eating much at all by then.
Oh my god!
I tried everything.
No way.
Everything.
Dude.
Laxatives, enema, Miralax, Linzess, prescriptions, etc.
Dude,
Nothing was
that's a lot.
working. I was beyond terrified and reading stories of people whose intestines ruptured and they needed an ostomy bag. And yes, I had stopped Kratom completely long before this.
See, I think they were.
I went to the ER 3 times. They did nothing. Literally nothing. They literally told me I might have a rupture and need surgery soon. All this due to Kratom and my stupidity.
I don't
Eventually, my doctor helped me find the perfect combination that at least got me out of dangerous territory. 6 capfuls of Miralax per day, laxatives, and then a massive bag enema 3 times. Then when I got out of panic mode, I had to keep doing enemas. My guts never woke back up. I went another 2 weeks without going, and I had to start doing enemas again.
This is a horror.
I kept needing to
podcast.
use enemas, almost no laxatives though, just to use the bathroom. Things never got better again. I had a colonoscopy near the end of 2017, and they told me that there was nothing seriously wrong with my gut besides inflammation. Well, I went another like 2 months without Kratom, and everything proceeded as it was. I started Kratom back again though, because I felt that if my guts were staying screwed up anyway, I may as well just start using again. Really dumb, and maybe things wouldn't be as they are now if I had just stayed away. I still have to do enemas every 1 to 3 days just to not die, or have intestinal pain, which is often uncomfortable, on the verge of pain regardless. It's been 6 years.
I feel like this person is a
I became
hypochondriac.
extremely depressed in 2020 and had 3 suicide attempts by 2022. I used Kratom for the vast majority of these years, only slowing down to see if my guts had gotten any better. They hadn't. I also got severely addicted to research chemical benzos and had to taper over the course of a year with the doctor's help.
Are we still on the same
I
story?
used 25 to 30 grams per day of
I think
Kratom
so.
and went cold turkey in 2019. It was so horrible. I didn't sleep for like literally 12 days. It was on the verge of psychosis. I had my mom hide all the knives. The only thing that got me to sleep was being driven around in a car with my mom for several hours each day for a week.
What?
I eventually gave up again and used Kratom up until March 3rd, 2023. Since then, I am doing well, all things considered. My intestinal issues have gotten significantly easier
So it is the same story.
What the hell
to
is going
handle.
on?
My GI doctor
hell?
thinks the damage may be permanent though. I'd like to get another colonoscopy done, but it is too expensive.
Boy, they're probably tired of seeing this
I'm
guy
129
at the
days
ER.
off of Kratom, and I'm the happiest I've been in literal years. The PAWs has basically ended now. I am now enrolled in college for this fall for a CS degree. I'm actually a formerly very successful app developer, but Kratom had ruined that.
Good
I'm now
God.
working on my app again and have a good shot at success if I stay motivated, which is easier than ever again. I released my first highly successful app at 15 years old, so I'm somewhat experienced. My fibromyalgia symptoms as well are so much improved, to the point I have some really good pain days now. Wow, I didn't realize it, but my fibromyalgia symptoms had gotten so much worse due to Kratom. The pain and temperature fluctuations were unbearable during Kratom use, and especially when stopping. Basically, I've come to say, even if Kratom has taken a lot from you, it can actually get better, even if you don't think it can. I've seen some very worrying posts over the years of others deciding to use enemas so they can use Kratom. Not a lot, but I've seen more than a few. Let this serve as a warning.
Doesn't he kind of sound like Charlie Sheen?
Yeah, he does. It's like a horse. That was horrible. Like, oh my God.
After doing some research online and learning that Kratom acts on opiate receptors and was totally legal, I became intrigued. I found a good price on 30 grams of powdered super-grade Bali Kratom from a reputable vendor that was selling the stuff at a popular online auction site.
What?
Upon receiving the order, I immediately measured out a 7-gram dose
eBay
and
has
stirred the
to be.
powder into 2 cups of grape juice. I drank the grainy concoction over the course of about 30 minutes. As I drank it, I noticed myself becoming more alert, but my mouth was also numbing a bit. Over
What?
30 minutes, I sipped the juice until it was all gone.
That's gotta be common.
After it
Yeah.
had started to set in, I felt pretty lethargic, but there was no noticeable feeling of euphoria
Dude, he used a whole
whatsoever.
30 grand.
Soon, I became aware of the effects of this drug. It was very sedating,
I don't know if he said 30
but
or
not
7.
in a pleasant way.
He bought
It was
30
overpowering, and the nausea was unbelievable. I had intense dysphoria. I crawled into my bed, and being so sedated, I was able to sleep. So about 2 hours after taking the stuff, that's what I did. The next day, I realized I had taken too much, and probably just needed a smaller dose. So 2 days after the initial experience, I tried again with 5 grams.
Okay.
I got less sedation, but again, no euphoria to speak of, except some slight stimulant effects on the come-up. I was nauseated again and thought this stuff was a waste, but it did help me sleep and I enjoyed the nap. I finished out the rest of the 18 grams I had remaining over the course of the next week in 6-gram doses mixed with cups of water. The naps I got from it were satisfying sleep, but it wasn't worth it as soon as I realized. I became quite constipated as this experiment went on, finishing off the remains of it. After finishing the last of it, I soon developed intense stomach pains from the constipation, a complete
Gee.
lack of passing bowel movements. I knew that opiates could affect this necessary bodily function, and this had happened to me. While kratom may not be considered an opiate, it does work on the mu-opioid receptors, and I got the worst of it. It was awful. My digestive system was literally so backed up that I couldn't process food through my stomach. I couldn't eat much without throwing it
After a
up soon
week?
after because my food had no place to go.
I think these people might have something wrong.
After a
with them.
week of this horrible constant stomach pain, I started having sharp and intense pains on my left side. Fearing that this constipation had caused an inflamed appendix, I was scared but didn't want to see a doctor. Over the course of the next month, I did my best to
wanna see
find
a
a regular
doctor.
supply of cannabis, which I smoked to ease the pain, and that helped get my digestive system working smoothly again.
Getting them much.
Overall, kratom
know.
was a horrible experience for me. It wasn't fun while I did it. It was tiring and was very dysphoric at higher doses. I really thought it might kill me at some point in the first experience.
What?
So this dude
Later, I
only
thought
took
that
kratom for a week.
constipation would rupture my insides,
And all
it
this
nearly
happened.
did. Some
Get outta
months
here.
later, I still have problems with constipation, and my left side still hurts slightly.
Oh, come on, bro. Get out of here.
So story 1 and story 2 are rabbit turding
yeah.
because they didn't stay hydrated.
Well, and
To
this
keep
guy's
the
like he's
story as
permanently
short and
messed up.
sweet as possible, I am completely stuck to the grips of kratom. Taking a few capsules for a pre-workout boost starting last June has escalated into me downing 15 to 40 grams of powder every 1 to 2 hours of the day.
Oh my god.
Despite my extreme usage, I'm stuck in bouts of severe anxiety, depression, lethargy every single day.
You're
Man.
overloading your
Throughout the
body.
past year,
Yeah.
I had several extremely traumatic things happen within my family and relationship that led me to continue to drive up the dosage. I was an aspiring bodybuilder stricken with severe mental and physical pain. A few grams before my workout took away all my pain and turned me into a beast again. It gave me mental clarity and made me feel like a little kid again. Fast forward into the winter, I began experiencing severe health issues with my kidneys and muscles. I lost 100 plus pounds of pure muscle mass, along with my ability to walk or even lift my arms due to what is
Jesus.
believed to be severe rhabdomyolysis.
I don't know what that is.
I continued to take kratom as it helped ease the severe muscle pain I was experiencing. I worked my way up to about 100 grams per day before jumping off cold turkey when I was admitted to the ICU. After a lengthy
Dude, you
6-week
have to
stay, I
really
was
work at
released,
that.
but was still in severe pain and had very little muscular strength. I began to use kratom again at small doses, 10 to 20 grams per day, as it was the only thing that could take away my severe pain and gave me the ability to walk on my own free will. I ended up accepting a job that I was in no way, shape, or form ready for due to desperate need of money after spending almost 5 months unable to work. Work was exhausting. I could barely walk up and down the steps, and I was put to work in a labor environment. The only way I was able to keep up was by taking more and more kratom to kill my pain and give me
come on,
energy.
dude.
I would spend my hour lunch break sleeping in my car, throwing up and passing out several times a week due to the exhaustion, but I stupidly continued to bite the bullet and take more kratom to mask my pain.
Dude, what the?
Fast forward to now, and I have amassed a 200 plus grams per day habit just to function. I don't believe I ever even get to the point of expediting withdrawals, yet my depression, anxiety, lack of motivation, and fatigue are full blown. All the things I began taking kratom for in the first place. I feel horrible taking the kratom, but I feel even worse every attempt to taper down. If I am not dosing every 1 to 2 hours or dose on a full stomach, I feel completely useless and mentally a
I
wreck.
couldn't hear you.
Even when I'm taking my
I
usual
think this person
dosages,
is, like,
it's still a
something he needs to,
50-50
like-
shot that it will make me feel
Oh yeah,
Go to therapy about, you know?
yeah.
relaxed versus sending me into a manic episode. I plan to go to a detox center, then rehab, but I am horrified of what life awaits for me off kratom.
Yes.
My body, mind, and spirit have been crushed so badly, and kratom was the only thing holding me together for so long until my usage became way out of control. I want to at least taper to 100 grams per day before going to the detox facility to make the jump, but I just haven't been able to get the dosages to budge no matter what. Without Kratom, I'm stuck on the couch all day, riddled with pain, depression, and anxiety. But being a slave to the sludge has hurt me more mentally than anything else. I just
Man.
feel I need a little momentum. I can't keep going backwards.
Dude, he said taper down to 100 grams a day.
Man,
Like, I think this is some extreme shit.
that is wild.
These stories are like the most extreme thing. This guy, holy shit, he's got some issues. Like, I feel bad for him, but it's
Yeah.
he's just like making it worse. God, I don't even know if I want to hear the next story.
Huh?
I don't even
I
know if I want to
decided-
hear the next story. Like, like I'm kind of scared.
This is like the perfect month to play this because these are like
It is. It's like fucking horror stories.
it's like Tales from the Crypt.
Yeah.
Tales from the Kratom Crypt.
Oh, like, dude, this shit is scary.
To try Kratom for the first time. I took it at 6 p.m. I made a tea with 10 grams of powder. It tasted horrible, but I gagged it down. By 7 p.m., I felt fantastic. It felt like taking Vicodin, but not quite as euphoric. By 8 p.m., I started having terrible stomach pain. It kept getting worse to the point where I was hunched over in pain and was miserable. It was the worst pain I have ever experienced. Then by 10 p.m., I started vomiting uncontrollably. I vomited 6 times by 2 a.m. By then, I was so exhausted that I fell asleep. I kept waking up every
with you,
hour
May.
because of
Better
the
keep
stomach
on
pain,
taking it.
but I didn't vomit
Yeah.
anymore. I continued to feel dizzy and nauseated. By 8 p.m. the next day, I felt completely back to normal. It was the worst 24 hours ever. I felt like I was going to die, worse than any stomach flu I have ever had. I realize now that I took too high of a dose for a first-time use. I will not be trying it again, though.
Thank God. Thank God.
Mm.
Because you don't need to end up like these other guys over here.
On April 15th, I will be 3 years clean from Kratom, one day before my birthday. Here's my story. I started with hydromorphone when I was 16 in high school and got my first taste of what opioid addiction was like. And oh boy, those withdrawals were not fun when I quit. I swore I'd never put myself through the pain of opioid withdrawals ever again, but then Kratom shoved its way into my life, or should I say, I brought it into my life. I was 18, and me and my buddies heard about Kratom. We ordered some and loved it right away. I did a decent amount of research and kept hearing about how it wasn't addictive and totally safe. What bullshit I was getting fed online, especially on r/Kratom. Started off taking 3 grams per day, then
I like
6
that
grams per
Reddit
day,
forum.
then up to 12 grams per
Yeah.
day for about 3 months. I eventually ran out and realized I was getting minor withdrawals very similar to the ones of hydromorphone. Since I wasn't taking that much a day for very long, I didn't have a hard time quitting at first, but it was still hard. I'm 19 now, and in college, me and my 3 roommates all order Kratom, me thinking I'll be able to control it and use it responsibly this time.
Yeah.
At first, it was under control. I'd take a 4-gram dose every once in a while after a stressful day or hangover. That didn't last long, though. Slowly, I started to take more and more until I was back to 12 grams per day split between 2 doses, one when I woke up and one at night. Eventually, that turned into 3 6-gram doses a day, then to 4 7-gram doses a day. I just kept increasing the dosage, trying to chase that buzz, and would use more frequently as well.
I couldn't even
I
find that
dropped
buzz.
out of college and was back at home with my family and my Kratom. I was working as a cook and would have to always bring in Kratom to work halfway through my shift to function. I was transparent with my chef and he actually didn't care at all, let me quickly take my 7-gram dose when I needed to. That 7-gram dose 4 times a day didn't last long though. I started taking more and more until I hit 20 grams at a time every 4 hours, give or take. I was spending almost all my money on Kratom.
How much?
I would order a kilo every 2
grams
weeks.
at
It
a
was
time.
absurd. I somehow convinced my mom it was a health supplement for years. I would wake up every day in withdrawals and rush downstairs to take my first dose of the day. It was terrible.
Yeah.
At this point, I've been taking 100 to 150 grams per day. I wouldn't even scale my doses. I would just take 6.5 tablespoons and mix it with water. It was so thick and disgusting, I'd throw up if I didn't drink it quick enough.
Oh,
It controlled my life. I would barely go out with my friends anymore because I'd have to bring my kratom with me if we were out for long periods of time. One day I was drunk and my mom snapped at me and yelled, "Why are you always taking this green gunk all day? Why is my sink always a mess and clogged with your kratom?" I broke down and finally told her the truth. When she heard everything, she cried and promised to do everything she could to help me get off of this poison. I should mention that at this point, I was getting green patches on my skin, usually always my left arm and ankle. I looked into it, and yeah, kratom can literally dye your skin if you take enough. Thankfully, it's only temporary. Long story short, I did a very hard taper, then went cold turkey on April 15th, a day before my birthday. Worst birthday of my life, and the worst 2 weeks of my life. I was in so much pain, by the 6th day, I actually thought I was dying. The withdrawals from kratom made the withdrawals from hydromorphone a fucking walk in the park.
dude, I don't know about all that.
If it wasn't for my mom and my close friends, I probably would still be on this gunk. I'll be 3 years clean soon, and let me say this, I also wouldn't have been able to do it without you guys. I'd be on here every day shaking and sweating, reading motivational posts during my withdrawals. It made me feel not alone. I'm not sure why I waited so long to say my story and give my thanks to this wonderful community. I hope maybe my story can help someone push through and quit like the stories I was.
Dude, these are like the worst case scenario. Like, I feel like these people are going through something else. Like, they don't, none of them need to
Would
even
read
touch
here 3
kratom.
years ago. Thank you, and good luck to anyone trying to quit. Remember, the pain of quitting is only temporary. You will recover one day. Just
I
keep
hope
on
you work
pushing.
on your whys of chasing dragons.
Yeah, because that's exactly what they're. Yeah, there's no way. Like, this is so crazy. What story?
What? Story what?
This
I've taken kratom on and off for about 2 years as a means of relieving mild depression and stress, and the longer I took it, the more I noticed its dissociation.
I wonder if this is like a compilation.
Or maybe he forgot to put the extra. Well, I don't even know what number we're supposed to be on anyway.
I think we're on like number 6, 4, or 5 or 6.
Maybe that was supposed to be a 7.
Features. No one talks about kratom as a dissociative or as a drug that contributes to memory problems, but I've noticed being entirely detached where months could go by and I would have little to no recollection of what happened in between
What?
certain time frames. It felt like I was on autopilot, and events that I was personally involved in seemed very, very distant and detached.
What?
I would have difficulties mentally acknowledging the fact that my body was active, that my mouth produced coherent sentences, that my legs walked, that my hands were the same ones that I could see performing numerous actions throughout the day, etc. I understood that all of these processes were happening, but it felt like I was just an observer, a parasite residing inside an active person's body,
Yeah, this is
looking
like
out of his
meant-
eyeballs,
like, this is-
living his life.
I
That's
don't
like
know.
Psychedelic.
Though I stopped using it a few
Yeah.
months back, it still feels like that to an extent. I can't seem to fully bridge the gap between mind and body. I expect this to go away after some time has passed, but I can't be certain.
Yeah, it sounds
Earlier
like
this
anti-
year, my parents
anti-kratom
developed a
war, like
series
one
of
them
health
quitting
complications
Reddit.
that needed to be
Yeah.
addressed. Due to the overall buildup of stress and memories of a pleasant addiction, I began to use kratom again after several months of sobriety. At first, I used it once a week, but it soon grew to the usual 4 to 5 times a week, mainly on the weekends. This all led up to about 3 months ago, when I woke up to a racing heart and had full-body convulsions, which lasted over an hour.
Oh my goodness.
I did not lose memory of it, but heavy dissociation was present during and after the event. I think it was due to increasing my kratom usage several days before. I have never smoked or drank. I used a few legal highs once or twice, none of which I enjoyed. I used DXM 10 to 15 times, but that was years ago. Kratom was the only substance.
Shit. What is the name of this channel? Hold on a sec.
Um,
Tales from the Trip.
Tales from the Trip. Yep.
Yeah.
They got a huge following on YouTube, and they read stories from the Erowid
Yeah.
site. And can you click on that?
They got like all of the things that they're reading. They have like the link to them.
Yeah, like the Reddit forums and all these different ones.
This is insane shit though, man. Like this is insane.
It's like I mean, we can tell them where they went wrong, but that's their, unless they're open to listening to it, then they're not gonna listen to us.
Yeah, I feel like these people just like I think I don't know, like it's just insane to me. All I know is I hope they don't get a hold of no 7-0, dude.
Oh my god, I know. Oh,
That's over.
That I genuinely enjoyed and gladly returned to after short breaks. If DXM caused any damage, I would assume it was minimal, as I never abused the substance, and my last experience with it was over 2 years ago. I never took any prescription meds, and I never mixed kratom with any other substance. I was off work for about a week after the convulsions due to the onset of debilitating panic attacks and an incredible mental change, which came and went in waves. Once it set in, it would continue for about 2 days, after which it would lessen in intensity, only to repeat later on. The whole process was very cyclical. The dissociation would come and go, and the panic attacks would follow a similar pattern. All this would be accompanied by strange head sensations, which worsened when lying down. It felt like my brain was swelling, or as though I was constantly wearing an imaginary headband, which wrapped around my head. For a few weeks after the convulsions, there were bizarre sensations of what I can only describe as energy that seemed to originate at the top of my head before washing over my entire body from top to bottom in waves. Sleeping was also difficult, and I would experience what felt like internal hypnic jerks. No actual muscles physically contracted, but I felt as though something inside me released a very subtle echo, which seemed to reverberate throughout my whole body. As unpleasant as the dissociation and head pressure were, significantly worse were the panic attacks which accompanied the overall mental disarray. They would slowly creep up and encapsulate my entire being, eventually forcing me into a state of absolute terror. There was no pain or physical sensations involved, but I felt genuine dread, the likes of which I'd never felt prior. The day after the convulsions, I had actually went to work, only to leave 3 hours later because I felt like everything was absolutely wrong and that I was, in all likelihood, going to die. Very irrational behavior, but every fiber of my being was telling me to run. I stopped using kratom immediately after the convulsions. 3 months have passed, and my sense of awareness has been improving. Though I still experience intense waves of dissociation, and there's definitely been damage done to my memory, hopefully none of it permanent. The head pressure is still there, though to a much lesser extent than before. I would not consider myself a psychonaut or a troubled youth. I consider myself an average young adult and have led a fairly healthy life thus far. Nonetheless, I experienced what seemed to resemble a seizure, along with continued cognitive impairment after 2 years of inconstant use. I feel as though the issues experienced by me were caused primarily, if not entirely, by kratom, and I would like for others to approach foreign chemicals with more caution than was done by me.
That's not a chemical.
My main reason for submitting this information was to warn others that are young and have their lives ahead of them, and still others that form the opinion that kratom is a harmless natural supplement that has been used for millennia by South Asians.
It has.
I'm not Asian, and neither were any of the active users I knew.
Okay.
White Europeans had no history of kratom usage, and for all we know, our bodies could very well process mitragynine differently.
Oh man, dude.
Kratom was a very pleasant part of my life. It was my absolute drug of choice. If any of the descriptions of what I experienced seem vague, please excuse me as I am incapable of coming up with the exact terms to properly convey the sensations. P.S. Yes, I've been to a neurologist and have had a general practitioner take blood samples and all that. Everything came back normal, and I spent quite a large sum on these tests. I'm not going to look further into this topic. I was happy to hear that my brain didn't have any apparent damage, and that was more than enough. At this point, I am uninterested in doing anything outside of what I've already done.
Oh. I've clogged a toilet, but it was before
Before
Kratom.
I begin, I'll provide some context for this report.
Oh, what Wayne say?
I am a
Lucy?
healthy 26-year-old male. I live a fairly active lifestyle, and I eat well. I drink alcohol occasionally, and I don't smoke cigarettes.
Fucking Wayne. I don't know, man. That fart video you made, you sounded like you working just fine.
Oh, man.
I've been smoking cannabis for 10 years, and I have extensive experience with psychedelics, namely LSD, MDMA, DMT, salvia, and psilocybin. I've also had cocaine, amphetamines, nitrous, prescription opiates,
but it's
and
gonna
various
be
other
Kratom's
drugs in the
gonna be his
past, but never
downfall.
habitually.
Yeah.
The only consistent health problem I've had is chronic migraines. Test results in the past have suggested that I have a somewhat sensitive liver. My blood work showed elevated liver enzymes for a period of about 3 weeks during a period of stress-induced migraines and subsequent overuse of NSAIDs, though the cause is not completely clear. This was resolved after total cessation of NSAIDs and alcohol, and my blood work returned to normal after a short period. I first came across Kratom on a recent trip to Thailand. A local friend of mine bought a bag of fresh leaves from a truck driver and gave me one. He mentioned it was a little like coffee, but with some sedating effects. It was very mild and not particularly noticeable. A couple of weeks later, a guy I met in a rural area offered me some pungent red liquid he'd brewed with homegrown Kratom. The taste was surprisingly good, and I really felt the effect this time. I'd taken a tiny amount of LSD earlier in the day, which had mostly worn
God.
off, and we were
What
all
the
smoking
hell?
quite a lot of cannabis, but it was definitely noticeable. Upon arriving home, I was pleased to discover that Kratom is completely legal in my country. I found a reputable online vendor and promptly ordered a small amount of finely powdered Thai, Bali, and Borneo white strains. The smell was slightly familiar, but quite different to the fresh Kratom I'd had overseas. I first tried 3 grams of the Thai just to get a feel for the dose. I felt a very slight change in perception, maybe comparable to a cup of coffee and a small dose of codeine.
Was
a
there
couple of
codeine
days
in
later, I tried a few more grams with the same effect.
Dude, this guy's on so many
It was
stuff.
mostly unremarkable, but pleasant. I figured I'd experiment more when I had the time and put the rest aside for a rainy day. 3 weeks later, my girlfriend and I cooked up a batch of Bali strain in a pot with boiling water, about 10 grams each or whatever 3.5 teaspoons is. The taste was awful. The texture was even worse. But to my pleasant surprise, it was highly enjoyable. We spent the night sitting around, listening to records in a state of euphoric sedation. It was still quite mild. We were 100% lucid and coherent, but also paradoxically inebriated. A glass of wine and a joint amplified things a great deal though. Very interesting body feeling, incredible warmth, and fantastic dreamlike nods, reminiscent of a moderate dose of opiates. Closing my eyes for a moment would take me into incredibly vivid dreams about my childhood home.
Oh my
Platters of
God.
spinning colors, or rolling green fields with familiar faces, laughing
sounds
and
like
flying
LSD.
kites. This
Yeah.
was great. I thought I'd hit the jackpot. A few nights later, I repeated the same process. The effects were the same, just wonderful stuff, I thought. The next week I had a little more. There was definitely no craving or sense of longing for the feeling, but it was certainly an enjoyable thing to look forward to. Over the course of about 2 weeks, I took Kratom about 5 times, around 10 grams each time.
Uh-oh. What's gonna
After a
happen?
usual enjoyable night with Kratom and a
His
glass of wine,
butt's gonna
I
fall
awoke
off.
the next morning, feeling incredibly nauseated. I figured I was getting sick and carried on with my day. Eventually, I was overcome with overwhelming nausea and went home. I
Took too
couldn't
much.
eat and I couldn't shit. I tried eating a banana and puked almost
Couldn't.
instantly.
Oh.
I dragged myself to the doctor the next day, dehydrated and in poor shape. They took an urgent blood test and found that my liver enzymes were through the roof. I was sent home with strict orders to go to the hospital if symptoms worsen. A couple of days later, I had become incredibly jaundiced and could do nothing but lie in bed, shaking and sweating. My kidneys were radiating pain throughout my whole body, and I had barely eaten a thing in 3 days. I was admitted to the hospital that night. After extensive blood tests and several ultrasounds, I tested negative for all common liver diseases and showed no signs of gallstones, bile duct obstruction, or anything else likely to cause such a reaction. The doctors were very baffled, and over the course of the week, I reluctantly isolated kratom as being the cause of my condition. My specialist kindly referred me to several studies which show almost identical symptoms in others who have used kratom recreationally. I was discharged from the hospital after a week with a diagnosis of a drug-induced hepatic injury. A month later, my jaundice is gone and I am able to eat. I'm still feeling fatigued and weak, still experiencing abdominal pains, and my liver enzymes are still abnormally high, though decreasing by about half every 2 weeks.
Come
So
on.
basically, unless you like having bright orange skin, being nauseated and in
What?
agony, and spending a week in the hospital being poked and prodded by confused doctors,
Dude, and he
stay the
said this
hell
is
away from
only 2 weeks. 2 weeks.
Bright orange skin?
That's called jaundice. It's from alcohol, bro.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like this guy had some issues before, and they caught up with him again. Obviously, he was drinking wine with his girlfriend.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, obviously, he was still drinking.
this stuff. Even mild recreational use can cause grave health consequences.
Yeah, I think this must be like a compilation.
Yeah.
So today, I almost died using a substance I
Oh
originally
my
thought
God.
was harmless. I am a 210-pound, 23-year-old male. I have recently been discharged from the Navy after a 4-year tour, so I am in excellent health, and until very recently, I spent a fair amount of time bodybuilding. My wife and I, feeling particularly good this morning, decided to do our stims of choice. I won't be discussing
Oh my
her use of
God.
stims, as she is a private person. We live in rural Alabama. There is no phone service out here, and cell phone signal is lost as soon as you enter the forest.
Dude, when the
This is
fuck
important
was
for
this
later in
even
the
done?
report.
Like in the 90s?
So I measured out 4.5 grams of ground Bali kratom, my favorite because I hate edgy stims, and Bali has a very smooth high.
Oh, man.
Normally, I used a digital scale accurate to 0.001 grams. I put my dose in 11 00 gel caps and swallowed them down with Mountain Dew. After
More
about 30
Stims?
minutes, my wife and I were feeling great, so we began walking in the woods.
Oh, man.
We got to about half a mile out, and we started getting playful, so my wife began giving me a standing ovation. Very near climax, my heart began pounding very hard and very, very fast.
So they had sex?
I was unable to climax,
I
to
think
both of
she
our
was,
disappointment, because I felt lightheaded and
I
needed to
guess,
sit
I don't
down.
know what a standing ovation is. Maybe it's
I
like,
found
you
a fallen
know,
tree nearby.
His ding dong
and
got
sat
hard.
down,
Right,
conversing
or like
casually
oral
with
or
my wife,
something.
still
I'm
lightheaded
gonna look
and
that
not
up.
feeling good at all. This is the last thing I remember. The rest of this report is based on my wife describing
Crispy
what
critter
happened
brain.
after I blacked out. After a brief conversation, I collapsed, falling off the log and laying on the ground, completely unresponsive. My wife felt my pulse, and my heart was basically fibrillating. I was still breathing, but barely. I do remember hearing my wife's voice, but I don't know what she was saying. She was trying to comfort me while slapping me, performing CPR, trying to sit me up, and hoping I wouldn't die. She was afraid to leave me, as she had no idea where we were, and our cell phone was at home. Not that it would have done us much good out here. She said she pulled my eyelids open, and my eyes were rolled to the back of my head. After about 30 minutes of CPR, I began to come to, and for about 10 minutes after waking up, I was so weak. The best I could do was breathe and make eye contact with my wife. After a short time of rest, my wife helped me walk home, gave
FYI, a standing ovation. I guess she was like, he was standing in the middle of the woods.
What? No, dude.
He was standing in the middle of the woods and she was giving him head on her knees, I guess. is what they
Oh!
did. Yeah. That was- so, and if anybody didn't know, that's something we learned new today.
Okay.
So that's what was going on. These people seem like they're real. Cool.
Free spirited.
There you go. There you go.
addicted to
Oh,
it. I
shoot.
started using it a bit more in like June of I did not lose memory of it, but
I
heavy
messed up.
dissociation was present during and after the event. I stopped using kratom immediately after the convulsions.
Wait.
ST-250, 6 times normal.
Fuck.
So I had to spend the night, with more Dilaudid being administered every 3 hours
I'm
religiously.
sorry.
I've
I've
The
done
real
that
fun
before.
began at 3 a.m. when I was woken up by stomach pains, since the taste is outright nasty.
You guys
It's
go back
just
to the
the same-
fellatio.
I will divide the experience into 2.
It's just the same
Day
story.
1, I took
I don't
0.25
know.
grams. My urine was the color. In the end, I think I'm fine, but I'm just glad my wife knew what to do to keep
Ah.
me alive. Max, my heart began pounding very
Okay, there we
hard.
go.
and
Okay,
very,
here we go.
Very fast. I was unable to climax, to both of our disappointment, because I felt lightheaded and needed to sit down. I found a fallen tree nearby and sat on it, conversing casually with my wife, still lightheaded and not feeling good at all. This is the last thing I remember. The rest of this report is based on my wife describing what happened after I blacked out. After a brief conversation, I collapsed, falling off the log and laying on the ground, completely unresponsive. My wife felt my pulse, and my heart was basically fibrillating. I was still breathing, but barely. I do remember hearing my wife's voice, but I don't know what she was saying. She was trying to comfort me while slapping me, performing CPR, trying to sit me up, and hoping I wouldn't die. She was afraid to leave me, as she had no idea where we were, and our cell phone was at home. Not that it would have done us much good out here.
Yeah, no signal.
She said she pulled my eyelids open, and my eyes were rolled to the back of my head. After about 30 minutes of CPR, I began to come to, and for
Jesus
about 10 minutes after
Christ.
waking up, I was so weak. The best I could do was breathe and make eye contact with my wife.
This is
After a short time of rest, my wife helped me walk home, gave me a cigarette to calm my nerves,
geez,
and I
that you
began
don't
writing
need a
this
cigarette,
report.
dude.
In the end, I think I'm fine, but I'm just glad my wife knew what to do to keep me alive.
God,
I will
what?
never try kratom again.
Man, I don't know if it was kratom though, dude.
Right.
She must get some sick head, dude.
I hope this will reach those that are contemplating trying kratom.
That's what I would tell everybody if I
I am
was
a
your husband.
25-year-old of exceptionally good health. I should also preface this by stating that I have very few allergies, and I have never had any bad bodily reaction to any legal or illegal substance until
Except
I
for
tried
kratom. Yep.
A few months ago, I purchased 15 times extract after reading of the opium-like quality of this legal plant. I
15
depleted
times.
the whole baggie within
Yeah.
2 weeks' time, taking a strong dosage, usually every other or third night. The effects were incredible at first. Euphoria, warmth, bliss, everything you read in these forums.
Jeez, man.
By the 4th dosage, everything went wrong.
Oh shit.
Within hours, I felt an intense, steadily increasing pain in my abdomen. The pain became so great that I was eventually curled
How
up
much
in
you would
a
have
ball
bet
on
he
my
didn't shit
couch,
for a week?
vomiting helplessly on the floor.
Yeah.
At the time, I figured I simply ate a dinner contaminated with some microbe. The next day, however, I felt chills. My urine was the color of black tea,
Oh
and I
my
experienced
God.
intense nausea.
Hell?
The condition would not go away.
Dude's turned into
By
a
the 5th
zombie.
day, I figured this was not a regular food contamination problem. My whole body and eyes were a dark yellow color. Jaundice had set in. After several blood tests and doctor's visits, I was diagnosed with cholestatic hepatitis, a non-infectious liver disorder where your gallbladder essentially shuts down for some time. My liver panel blood test showed elevated ALT, AST, alkaline phosphate, bilirubin, and serum albumin levels.
Jesus.
There is essentially no treatment besides taking Compazine for the nausea, which in itself is a horrible drug. It's used in psychiatric wards to mellow out and dumb down residents.
Damn.
My condition lasted 2 weeks. This was by far the worst illness I've ever experienced in my whole life.
Dude, I think you
At
had
times,
something
I
contaminated,
literally thought I
bro.
would die.
Yeah.
I understand that I punctuated my story with drama, but I feel it is necessary to give caution to those that want to try this substance. It very well could have been that the extract was tainted with lab
Exactly.
chemicals.
Yeah. That's what my bed's on.
Mm-hmm.
So I bought this kratom extract that is supposed to be the strongest concentration ever, 0.25 grams being equal to 10 grams of regular kratom. The reasoning was that it would be easier to drink, since the taste is outright nasty. I will divide the experience into two. Day 1, I took 0.25 grams and felt the regularly reported effects, euphoria and slight buzz. I felt good. The day after is when things got ugly. I developed a horrible stomach ache that radiated to my back. I could barely breathe. I felt as if I had indigestion and constipation. In an effort to clear my painful intestines, I downed some milk of magnesia. The pain had me unable to go to the gym for a week. I was almost bedridden for these days. Fast forward to day 2. 2 weeks later, I decided to give kratom a try again, since I didn't think that the pains and kratom were related. Boy, was I wrong. I downed 0.25 grams again, and same as last time, I got the feeling of euphoria, light buzz, and well-being coming on rather quickly, 20 minutes. I enjoyed this for 3 hours, and went to sleep sober at about 11 p.m. The real fun began at 3 a.m. when I was woken up by stomach pains. I woke up and went to the guest bedroom so I didn't wake up my wife, and I played some Xbox waiting for this feeling to pass so I can go back to bed. That didn't happen. 45 minutes later, I was on the floor of the bathroom in fetal position, gasping for air. It was the same pain that I had 2 weeks ago, only stronger. It had radiated to my back, and I could barely breathe. The pain would last for about 20 minutes and suddenly go away, only to come back again 5 minutes later. I lasted in this roller coaster all of 5 hours when I decided to drive myself to the ER. The pain was so intense, I was very worried about crashing on my way there,
He didn't shit
even if
for
the
2
ER is
months.
only 15 blocks
Yeah.
away. If I pressed my hands around my gallbladder, it would feel like I was being stabbed. I got there, and I was immediately administered an IV with 1 milligram Dilaudid, and that was the best relief I had ever felt in my life. Tests and questioning began: EKG, ultrasound, blood work, CAT scan with contrast. Doctors did not find anything, with the exception of 2 very elevated liver enzymes. ALT was at 340, AST 250, 6 times normal. So I had to spend the night, with more Dilaudid being administered every 3 hours religiously, 1 milligram at the time. The next day, my liver hormones were trending down, and took a full week before I was back to normal. The doctors were all baffled, as they had no clue what did this to me. I did not disclose kratom, as I knew that they had no idea what it was, and they'd be quick to blame it. I was released with a no raw seafood warning, since it was my last meal before this. My wife ate the exact same thing that I did, and she was fine. As soon as I got back home, I threw the kratom away, and vowed to do more research next time I experiment with something. I still have residual pain. I hope that it will go away quickly.
Oh, come on, bro. It's been 5 years. He still has residual pain. Nah, I don't know. how
Before
long
I
it's been.
begin, this report is going to be super long because it documents the past few agonizing years addicted to this. I also want to say a few things about Kratom that you need to know. Kratom is definitely a dangerous drug that gets you high. No, it's not dangerous like oxys, perks, or whatever kind of hard drug is out there. It's dangerous in the sense of its subtlety. You wouldn't expect a legal drug that you can buy at a head shop to be this controlling over your everyday life. I'm not saying that you will get addicted like me, but there's definitely a possibility, and I'm writing this story in hopes to keep you away from this devil of a drug.
Is it 708?
Another thing I have to say is that there's a common misconception that Kratom doesn't get you high, that it's just a mood boost or even nothing at all. Now that might be true for some people, but for me, I could definitely feel the euphoria and stimulation.
Like,
If you
this one might be like, I don't know, because I'm not going to the one that in the description, but like some of these are old as fuck. You can tell.
Yeah, we
but
didn't even click on them. We didn't click on the links.
So it's like, who knows when this one is?
take high doses like me, you will feel high, trust me. I'm high as fuck right now typing this.
Oh god.
There are also people who can get hepatotoxicity from it. Usually you would know if you had this if it happens right after you start. Jaundice is the main thing you will notice appearance-wise if this were to happen to you. Luckily, this hasn't happened to me yet and doesn't really happen to that many people. I think people are afraid of this phenomenon because there are a lot of stories on the internet of people describing how they got hepatotoxicity from kratom. The reason behind this, in my opinion, is because what happened to them is so crazy that they need to make sure all of the internet needs to know. That's just what I believe.
I've never seen that, so.
The last thing I want to say about kratom is something positive. I think kratom can be very beneficial to people who are going through opioid, alcohol, or benzo withdrawal. I think it can help you get off of that much more dangerous substance and put you on something that is still bad, but not nearly as bad as those. The risk in that, though, is that if you were addicted to the previous substance, you will 100% be addicted to kratom.
God.
Like I said, though, out of
Not
those
me.
four, kratom is the least harmful. So the only reason I would recommend this drug would be for people already suffering through horrible addictions and withdrawals. I've read lots of stories of opioid addicts switching to kratom and it being a lifesaver for them.
Me?
Now that I've explained my views on the substance, let me take you on a journey through my ongoing abusive relationship with kratom.
Shit.
Before I talk about how I got to using it, I want to tell you what or who influenced me to do it in the first place.
Uh-oh.
I had a friend in high school who I'm no longer friends with, and I'm glad I'm not. He was addicted to kratom and we were all doing drugs at that time, so I wasn't really concerned with his use. Come to think of it now, though, I'm probably more addicted than he ever was. I remember in one of the classes I had with him, he would bring a bottle of water and put a shit ton of kratom powder in it, mix it up, and then drink it. Ugh, so nasty, the taste was awful.
Ugh.
No one questioned him drinking a green liquid because he was a health nut vegan who would lie and say it was spirulina if anyone asked. I was never interested in taking it after watching him drink those disgusting green waters, but one day we were at a head shop and he was going to buy some. I said fuck it and I'll try it. He was super excited that I wanted to try the kratom, but looking back now, if he was anything close to a good friend, he should have said no.
That son of a bitch.
I remember the kratom clear as
Damn it,
day.
Bobby.
It was a tiny bottle with 15
Bobby.
capsules inside. It was pretty expensive too, but it was not an extract. I think it was just more potent than normal kratom. He gave me 7 and he took 8. I was so excited to be high and see what he was raving about this whole time.
Oh
We were
man.
hanging out
7
for a
what?
little while after this and I wasn't feeling anything, so I called BS on his claims. But then,
He gave him 7 kratom.
What was it, 7 teaspoons? 7 fucking capsules? Fucking tablets? What?
Dude, this shit is insane. I was so excited to be high.
Ugh.
Oh man.
Kratom is
I
really
went
boring.
home
Yeah, I know. Like you're about to be disappointed as shit.
Yeah.
and I immediately felt it. I was so stimulated and euphoric, it almost felt like an Adderall.
Oh
When
my
I laid down on my
God.
bed, I felt so good, and I knew I wanted to do this again.
Did you take white kratom?
Since I'm already dragging the story along, I'll just skip ahead to how I got to the level I'm at today. So basically, the first time I tried kratom that I described previously was in 2017. I didn't really use kratom that much up until 2019. I would take it 2 to 3 times a week, and I used it only for when I was going out or going somewhere I didn't feel like going. I do remember one time I took kratom before I went to my girlfriend's house and decided to take 10 grams of it, and my regular dosage, mind you, was 5 to 6 grams. I was so messed up at her house and it was so hard for me to hide it, but I did. I was shaking, my vision was wobbling so bad, and I had major anxiety. Trying to talk to her dad was like speaking in front of thousands of people in an audience. I was that nervous. Luckily though, it wore off in a couple of hours and I was dressed nice. So hey, people who take drugs don't dress nice. Sarcasm. Skipping to the summer of 2019 is when the
Dude.
repeated use took place. I have a tiresome job and wanted the day to be more fun. I decided I would take Kratom halfway through my day to get me through the last couple of hours. Honestly, remembering this moment of my Kratom addiction makes me really sad because at this point I wasn't balls deep into abuse. I was just taking around 7 to 8 grams once a day. To some people that might seem like a lot already, but compared to what I'm going to tell you later, it's
Oh,
nothing.
I don't even want to know.
I basically did this routine every day until one time I decided to take a second dose to finish off the day and take the first dose earlier. It was the same dosage but just doing it one more time. This decision was the one I regret the most out of all the other decisions I've made during this time. This is also around the time I started getting panic attacks. I'm not sure if Kratom had anything to do with it because I was also drinking shitloads of caffeine too. I would doubt it if it wasn't at least 35% why I suffered these attacks. I did the 2-dose-a-day routine for months, and for the first time in this whole experience, I knew I had a problem. I remember stopping cold turkey for a week and some change. I did not feel bad physically, but mentally I wanted it so bad. When I stopped taking it, I had an urge just to feel something, anything. I bought a Juul just to try and get a buzz, and I never smoke whatsoever.
What
I bought
the
those energy
fuck?
boosters that come in a 4-pack at the gas station, and boy, did my anxiety skyrocket. I got a panic attack from doing this and didn't take those pills again for a while. My dumbass still never learns though, as I have done these pills probably around 10 more times since then, and most of the time I get a panic attack and pray that
Dude, I bought one of them 4-packs like years ago, and I didn't read the directions, and I took all 4 of them one night. It was like one of the worst nights of my life. Like my heart was beating real fast and shit, and I was just like, "Oh my god!" I think they were called Swarms or something. That shit sucked. Oh crap!
I don't die. It's going to be hard to believe this next part, but believe me,
Oh,
it's
it's
very
not.
true.
He didn't shit
The
for
feeling
life.
of nothing was draining me, so I resorted to taking a couple Advils to relieve my cravings of euphoria.
What?
As you may have guessed, I didn't feel shit and was just suffering. To my surprise though, around the end of that Kratomless week, I was fine. I didn't have a desire to be high or take Kratom, but something changed on that last day. Up until now, this was the closest I have ever come to stopping Kratom, but as you can tell, there's still more to this depressing story.
Dude, loud.
I wanted to do Kratom and told myself that I was just gonna buy it one more time and be done with it. Well, I bought the 5-pack of the OPMS Gold Extract pills from a head shop and took one.
Shit.
When it kicked in, I felt so fucking good and knew that my habit was going to continue no matter what I told myself. I went back to 2 doses a day for a period of my life, and since then I have stopped taking Kratom about 3 times. One time was for 3 days, and the last 2 times were for a little over a day, so yeah, I pretty much haven't stopped since then. It really only goes downhill from here, but the worst part of my Kratom addiction happened in late 2020 to 2021. I apparently thought that 2 doses wasn't enough, so I started taking 3. Yep, you heard that right, 3 doses a day. I also raised the dosages to 9 grams each dose.
Oh,
So during
man.
this extended
Dude,
COVID really did a number on us.
you got that right.
Like, yeah, I'm just bored. Let me go ahead, pop another one.
You heard that right. 3.
period of time,
Tell that to the guy that was taking 150 grams a day, you know,
Oh my god.
just forcing it down his throat.
I was doing 27 fucking grams a day. Sometimes more, sometimes less. I don't know what urged me to do this, but I did it.
Good
I would dose
God.
before I got to work, halfway through the day, and then near the end of my workday so I'd be a little high at home. I was also scarfing these capsules down with Bangs, the energy drink with 300 milligrams of caffeine.
I hope this
God.
guy
I
never
drank one
gets
bang for
around
my
like
first dose and one
drugs.
bang for my last dose. I still can't believe I did that shit. There were also some days where I would take the normal dose in the morning and then take like 3 to 4 more grams 45 minutes after. Please, don't be like me.
Don't worry.
When I was doing these large doses of kratom each day, my anxiety started skyrocketing. I never had anxiety in high school. I was carefree and didn't really give a fuck about anything. Now though, I was a worried and stressed mess of a person. Basically at this point, I was just taking kratom to not only feel high, but feel normal. I felt like I needed to take kratom to get through a day of work, and I never missed a dose to achieve this normalcy. I hope people who are listening to this understand that I never intended to do kratom daily like this, but it slowly crept its way into my soul and mind and took control of it.
You were chasing a high.
Another thing I want to add is that my tolerance has pretty much stayed stagnant. I can do 8.5 grams and still feel stimulated. So even doing these large doses repeatedly never really raised my tolerance, unless you are comparing it to my first 2 years where I wasn't addicted. Anyways, I did 3 doses a day for months until I finally stopped taking that halfway through the day dose and only take it in the morning and late afternoon. It has been like that since then, with some minor changes involved. I have no idea how I was able to cut down a dose, but I'm glad I did. The thought of doing 3 doses nowadays is so insane that I can't believe I used to be like that.
He checked himself. Nice.
So not only does this addiction take hold of your mind and spirit, but it also takes control of your wallet. Every couple of weeks, I go into a head shop to buy the 500 capsule kratom bottle and also buy the OPMS gold extract sometimes too. If you ever do kratom and my story is somehow not deterring you away, please don't ever buy the extract. It is so powerful and costs so much money to keep up with.
Yeah, just stay away
I've
from
been
them.
taking them a lot more recently, and it costs $50 for 5 extract pills where I am located.
Ew.
To give a rough estimate as to how much I spend on kratom yearly, it would have to be around $5,000. I'm not shitting you. It could be more or it could be less, but I would take the former. Since I haven't really described the effects, I will do so now. The peak of the kratom high feels like your body got a little bit more numb, you are more sociable, in a better mood, and just everything becomes a little bit more alright in your life. I
That's a high?
compare this addiction to a caffeine addiction. You're going to feel better after you ingest it, and this feeling of improvement will become necessary, and your body will require you to take it every single day.
Dude, you know there's people that spend over $5,000 on Starbucks, though.
Mm-hmm.
Talking about caffeine addiction, I'm just saying.
You are activating the reward system in your brain from these substances, and that's why it's very hard to quit. Since becoming addicted to kratom, there are many things that have happened to me, both physically and mentally. Physically, I'm very fatigued and tired all the time. That could be due to my job, but the kratom doesn't help it. I also shake damn near all the time, and if I do the extracts, the shakes become more pronounced. I also see static and floaters in my vision, which can go back to my psychedelic use, but I feel like the kratom is only making it worse. As long as I don't focus on it, I won't notice it. I'm not as worried about the physical detriments to my body as I am the mental ones. I have extreme anxiety, I don't like going out, I'm afraid to talk to women, and a lot of friends I have had have basically disappeared because I'm nervous to see them, and I also panic a lot and feel depressed most days. I feel like I'm also just stuck in my own thoughts. These are bad thoughts too.
I just kind of
Every
need to go
time
to a
I think of
therapist.
something, it always ends up turning out negative. I'm not going to say I'm never in a good mood, but I'm definitely in this distressed state more than in a cheerful state.
He needs to go out
There's
to
one
nature.
positive thing to come
Yeah.
out of all this, though, and it's
Go
that
get
I
a
have a
standing
severe amount of
ovation.
empathy towards
Yeah.
others. I try to help people in need and do whatever I can to make their lives better. If my life already sucks, I don't want others to feel the same pain as I do. This kind of empathy, though, is also a negative for me. I feel like since I know everyone else's pain, that I will never be happy again. The knowledge of the suffering of the human race and also innocent animals
Oh, yeah, this
terrorizes me
guy's
daily,
deep
knowing that I
into
can only
shit,
do
man.
so much.
Mhm.
I'm not saying I'm a good person either. I still make mistakes and do bad things, so don't get it twisted.
Okay.
Sometimes when I talk to people, I'll start stuttering my words because I'm already thinking of the next sentence I'm going to say, so the words jumble into each other and it comes out as a stutter. I have
This
also
is
noticed
like
I have
my
weird tics
life.
where I grab my chin and scratch my head when talking to someone, usually when it's a question. When I notice this, I immediately stop.
Does he think this is
My
all
old
from
counselor, who I
Kratom?
don't visit
I don't know.
anymore, noticed this about me and made me paranoid about it ever since. Yeah, thanks a lot. People have also told me I'm very funny and calm. I can only be funny because of the torment my mind goes through on a daily basis. That's why, if you haven't noticed, comedians are more likely to kill themselves. Just
What
look it
the
up and you'll
heck's
see it
going off
happens
the
quite
rail?
frequently. I wouldn't say I'm suicidal, but I've definitely thought about it a couple times. Whether that's just crashing into the median on the freeway or shooting myself.
God
I can't say
damn.
I would ever actually do this, but I've never gotten to the point of it being even close to doing those things. There is not one person that knows I'm addicted to Kratom. People know I have taken it before, but they do not know anything past that, like the extent and frequency of my use. It is very easy to hide that you're on it because it's not going to fuck you up like a strong opioid or stimulant will. It gives you a mix of both that balances the two to create a normal person. People who see me daily think that's the real me. No, that's the Kratom-induced sack of animated limbs. Currently, I'd say I can manage the doses better. I still do a lot, but I can wait to do a dose. Unfortunately, I still have to do 2, but before, I had to do it at a specific time. There is still the lingering problem of it being on my mind before I take it. For example, before my second dose, I'm pretty much always thinking of Kratom up until I do it. I wait until my lunch is digested and my stomach is more empty, because empty stomachs do make a difference. Although, over the summer I was super high from taking and eating breakfast after. I did take an extract though, so that could be why.
Get off the extracts.
The anxiety
Yeah.
nowadays has gone down a little, and same with the depression, but I'm prescribed medication, so I'm sure that's helping. I do not drink or do any other drugs, so I guess that's one thing to be happy about. I forgot to add to that period of time I was doing 3 doses in a day, I was also drinking quite frequently. Somehow though, I feel worse than back then. Maybe I don't, as it's hard to go back in time to see how I felt.
This
I'm
guy's
hoping that
like
all these
writing a
mental and
fucking
physical symptoms
journal
go
on a
away if I
diary.
stop taking Kratom, because it's getting to the point of being unbearable. I wish I could talk to a close friend about what's going on inside my head and the insufferable addiction I'm going through. I'm just so embarrassed to tell someone. It's not like weed or alcohol where it's normal in society to be addicted to those
Taking it
substances.
twice a day,
Yes,
like
people who smoke
18
every day are
grams
addicted. I do not care
a
what you have to
day.
say. Kratom, on the other hand, is not really well known with normal people in society, and the people that do know what it is think it's K2 or some shit, which it's not even close to.
This has
My
to be
short-term
older.
goal with this addiction is cutting it down to 1 dose a day and cutting out all the extracts. The bad part about the extract is that I can afford it. I mean, it's great that I'm financially stable, but I hate how much I love those things. The long-term goal I have, obviously, is stop taking it completely. I really don't know how long that will take or if it will even happen at all. I just know something has to happen in my life to deter me away from it forever. Even if I do stop, am I going to end up back on it? I hope that my mind will trample the stupid fucking addiction once and for all, and I will go back to living a normal life without the satanic substance. I can't
God.
even recall what it was like before this took over my life.
Satanic?
Yeah.
I'd say that Kratom has definitely ruined my life. I know that I'm still
Maybe you
young
need
and
to go
have
to
room for
church.
improvement, but the future looks completely bleak in regards to Kratom use. Until I go months without taking a single Kratom capsule, I will not be satisfied with my life. Even if I stop taking it for months, there is still a chance I will be super stressed, mad, or whatever feeling that makes me want to escape that reality for just a short period of time.
Stop escaping.
I hope none of you think this story is bullshit and can't happen because it's Kratom. It's 100% true, and I want you all to take what I have to say to heart because I don't want anyone to
I believe
experience
it,
the
baby.
horrors that I'm
Me
going
too.
through. How Kratom fools you is its subtlety. You may not realize you have a problem until it's too late.
He got
just like
a lot
me.
of problems.
It's
besides
just like being an
Kratom. Kratom ain't one
alcoholic, a
of them.
caffeine addict, or even a food addict. Any kind of addiction is bad, some are worse than others though. You can still function normally on this and look as though you're clean, but in reality, you know you're not any better off than someone suffering from a worse addiction. You have the same problems as them, just not as severe. To end this journey I have taken you through, I just want to say that you should never take Kratom under any circumstances, unless you are going through a horrible opioid, benzo, or alcohol withdrawal. Those are
what kind of
seriously
thing?
the only people
Yeah.
I would recommend taking it. Even then though,
I guess
if
we
there's a
don't
way
matter.
to combat your
Yeah.
withdrawals or addictions with something else, please do that instead. If you are currently taking it but are just doing it occasionally, don't ever take more than that. If you can keep it under control like that, then it won't cause you that much harm, but you never know if it will lead to what I'm currently going through, or even worse. If you would have told me I was going to be addicted like this 4 years ago, I would have taken the crack you were smoking and take a hit of that shit, because there's no way in
God
hell someone
bless.
could get addicted to this.
The hell?
Just please be careful. Seriously.
the
Your
fuck?
life can be negatively changed forever.
Forever.
Well, on that note, I have to get off here so I can put my kid to bed. But dude, we should seriously do a few more of these during October, because this is like
It's perfect for
that's what I'm
October.
saying. It's like this is insane though.
Man, it's like I'm at a loss for words, honestly. It's like, I mean, I applaud them for anonymously, you know, submitting their stories and getting it off their chest. That might be a start to something for them to
I
work on
think that
fixing
guy
from
right
within.
there. Yeah, I think that guy right there definitely needed somebody to talk to. You know
Yeah,
what I'm
for
saying?
sure.
I don't. But I mean, wow. And I think that one must have been a long time ago too, because like, oh, I just hope he never, ever, ever, ever.
Yeah,
gets
Bunny,
addicted.
we will, because he has a whole bunch of other Kratom things on his thingy.
Yeah, this was really cool.
So if you want to wait till we live stream again, then, you know, instead of going to listen on your own, we'll do this another time. Because I'm sure that because I think this is like an hour and 38 minutes long. They were
Yeah.
probably about to go into the 7OH one.
Oh man.
Because
But
I saw
these
the
are
links on that.
crazy.
So
Yeah, I mean, this is insane. Definitely perfect for October. Yeah, we got to go through these for sure.
mhm.
All right, well, we're gonna go for now.
Okay.
We'll be back.
But